Well, I want to talk to you about the spirit of love, the spiritual power of love. And what kept coming to me was a song that I asked Amanda to put onto the email blast on Friday. And again, I can't say enough. If you are not getting our email blast, please call the office because something has either gone awry or our upcomings are going into your promotions folder and you've got to search for it. But please call us and let us know. This is the main way that we can connect with you. It's the main and only way that we are able to let you know what's going on with congregants and loved ones who have made their transition. And I don't want you to miss the pieces of information we're able to get to you. So what kept coming to me was the song, like I said, that's on the email blast, and it comes from 1 Corinthians. And I'm not going to read the whole verse, but I am going to just take a piece of it. Without love, I am nothing at all. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love rejoices in the truth. It bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never fails. This is the third Sunday of Advent, and as I've told you, this is about love. And in 1 Peter, it says, above all, maintain constant love for one another. Notice it doesn't say maintain love for the people that agree with you or the people you like. It says maintain constant love for one another. For love covers a multitude of sins. Now in Unity, we don't subscribe to sin the way most of us were brought up, thinking that that was a mark on our soul and it was the deciding factor on whether we were going to go to heaven or hell, or for some people, they thought there was purgatory. No, we look at sin as separation consciousness. So if I read that again, it says, above all, maintain constant love for one another, for love covers a multitude of separation thinking. And when I read that, that makes so much more sense to me. Because as I shared at the beginning of the meditation, I was getting myself hooked this week into separation thinking as hard news was coming to me, and getting frustrated with just the sadness that people are dealing with this time of year. It's a tough time anyway. It's such a joyful time and it's such a tough time. All at the same, both tracks are running at the same time. But especially during this pandemic, it is just triply hard for people going through loss and separation. There's I'm telling you, I really thought I had my talk lined up, and then this morning it just kind of got derailed because there's been so much that has gone on, including even this morning, getting some more tough news with somebody else's family, somebody else's loved one struggling. I was talking to someone early this morning who is so sad about, they've got a 1-year-old and grandma has not seen this child since this child was 7 weeks old. And it's the sadness that's coming from the parents of the child and the realization of how much grandma is missing. And that's where I got caught up this week. I was here, right? But then I would get caught and get hooked over here with what was missing. What's missing during this COVID Christmas, and what's lacking, and it's not the same. And Anybody else with me on this? I need to know, am I the only one that's been dealing with this? Thank you, Sandy, for raising your hand and admitting I'm not by myself here. It's just, we're being called to do our spiritual work. One of the things that I noticed, though, with every person I talked to this week, that even though they were delivering sad and hard news, every one of them finished in the sharing of their experience with about how much love was showing up around them when they could just look at the now moment and see how much love was around them in this feeling of extreme loneliness. Again, two different tracks running at the same time. But the key is that we notice there's this other track. There is this other track of love and compassion, and kindness that's running at the same time that we're dealing with some extreme sadness and extreme loss. Love bears all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never fails. You know, I love the thing that we have a t-shirt in the bookstore, and we got it just in the spring of last year, so we really didn't get to sell too many of them. But the saying on the t-shirt says, the feeling of the heart is the prayer. The feeling in the heart is the prayer. And that's how powerful this love center is. This emotional, spiritual heart is the driver of our experience in life. And so it is so important to hold on to remember how powerful love is. And we know, especially those in unity, know that even in death, there is no separation. There is only the separation of the physical body. That the spiritual heart is still and will always remain. Always remain. You know, there was an experiment, one of my favorite books, and actually year-long class that I took at Garden Park years ago was The Quest. It's a book by Mary Alice and Richard Jaffola. And they did an experiment for a weekend seminar that they were doing. This was going back years ago, but they did an experiment with You Are Loved cards. Everybody was handed out an unlimited amount of You Are Loved cards. And their assignment for the weekend at this seminar was to distribute as many of these You Are Loved cards out into the participants of the seminar, the staff, anywhere they went, give these cards out. Well, everybody felt so good getting these cards, right? But who do you think felt the best about these cards? It wasn't the people receiving the cards. It was the people who were passing them out that got the most from this experiment. The givers of the cards. And why do you think that is? Why do you think that is? Because love withheld just stays idle. How's it say? Love isn't love until you what? Give it away. That's the Christ love. I love this definition of Christ's love. It said, Christ's love is the love that recognizes it doesn't need anyone for it to bubble freely up from the wellspring of all love And that wellspring is the good. That wellspring is the God within each and every one of us. It doesn't need anyone in order for it to bubble up and spread itself out into the world. It just needs you. You know, there's an old song in our classic songbook. So many of you old timers like me might remember this song called A Magic Penny. And it goes, love is something, if you give it away, give it away, give it away. Love is something, if you give it away, you end up having more. It's just like a brand new penny. If you hold on to it, you won't have any. You've got to lend it, spend it, and you'll have so many, they'll spread all over the floor. Love is nothing if you don't give it away. Give it away, give it away. I could go and sing all those verses because it is such truth. I remember years ago, I did a sermon on, I think it was pennies from heaven. And I had laid pennies all over the floor in the sanctuary before service. And so then we sang this song, and then they were told to look on the floor. And you would have thought there were dollar bills on the floor. Now, who got the most out of that experiment? Me. It was so much fun throwing those pennies all over the floor. That's what we're being called to do. This COVID Christmas, I feel we are being called more to give it away, give it away, give it away. If nothing else, are we not realizing that holding on to all this stuff doesn't mean a hill of beans? You know, I look around and I see quite a few of you. You're sitting with your Christmas backdrop in your house, and it's so pretty. And I love that you all are doing that. Even though we're not going to entertain like we normally do, but you're not letting the spirit of Christmas die just because we are in this period called a pandemic. There was a song that came to me. It's an old song. I think I don't know if it's by the Statler brothers, but I think Kenny Rogers and Dolly Parton might have made it famous, or Kenny Rogers did. I don't remember, but it's called Love Lifted Me. And that's what I titled the talk today, because, you know, it's, when nothing else can help, love lifted me. Why is that hitting me so hard? I'll tell you, I have so many experiences in my life, so many, where I can talk about this from so many of my experiences that sometimes I have a hard time as to which one do I pull from today. Well, I thought I had it. And then last night, I became aware that my son, who is making a road trip across the United States with his friend, they're both out of work right now. They both live in California. Restaurants have shut down, and so they're not working until the first of the year. So his friend, who lives families in Rhode Island, said, I'm just going to go and make a road trip, and I'm going to go see my family. Bobby, you want to come along and I'll drop you off in Ohio? And so he said, okay. And we were like, oh my gosh, we're going to see him twice in 1 year. It's like, that's so rare. Well, they were both involved in a severe car accident last night, and they were traveling in Colorado, hit a patch of ice. The car went across the freeway, slid into a guardrail. They took the guardrail out, then went down an embankment, flipped over twice, and landed on upside down. And when you see the picture, you don't have a clue how anybody made it out of that car alive. He and his friend, and his friend has a dog, which was in the van. The two of them got out by the grace of God. When you see the picture, it's totally smashed. The hood, the roof. And strangers came and helped them and then helped get the dog out. And it made me realize how precious the now moment is. I thought I had all the tears out of me, but I'll tell you, when all we have is now, all any of us have is now. And what are we doing with that now moment? I was wasting so many nows this week with sadness for people, with sadness for the news media. I was buying into all this separation consciousness out there on the news. I'm just telling you, that does not bring me peace. It does not bring me to want to share love cards. So I got to stay away from it. I've got to right now, because I have to look at I'm fragile. I'm fragile right now. And last night made me even feel that fragility more of how fragile life is. And I look at all of your beautiful faces and I see how fragile each one of your lives are. And I just want to encourage you to stay in the now moment and give that love away. Don't save it for a rainy day or when conditions are right, or when my family finally comes to their senses and decides they're going to speak to us again. Don't wait. Give it away. Give it away. Love is something, if you give it away, you end up having more. So let's say I give it to that family that doesn't really want to receive it. Well, guess what? I end up getting love from somewhere else. See, don't attach wherever you're giving it away. Doesn't mean it has to come back from that vehicle. It's going to come back from other unexpected sources. This is Prosperity Plus, people. Unexpected sources will show up and shower you. Oh, I know I need to close here. So I close with just how precious you are, how precious I am to myself, how precious the people who are in your lives are. Let them know that today, because life is fragile. Life is so fragile. Let them know. Don't hoard it and wait till it's safe. You won't die from giving it away. I can promise you that. Because as the Kenny Rogers song says, love lifted me when nothing else would do. Love lifted me. So let's close with the affirmation that I want you to hold on to this week, because we focus this week on the Advent candle of love. And that affirmation is 1 Corinthians. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love endures all things. Let's say that 2 more times together. I want to see your mouths moving. Are you ready? Love is patient. Love is kind. Love endures all things. One more time and emphasize it under the underlined all. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love endures all things. not just the good things, all things. How precious you all are. I love you. Namaste. The Christ presence in me truly sees and honors that Christ presence, that Christ light in each and every one of you. Namaste.